me with other guests to, fill up, make sure I'm here on Tuesdays and Fridays, at least try to do at least, one Friday a month, if not the two that we normally do. But he will be back, y'all. So for those of you who care, continue to send that love and light and energy to him, and we appreciate that. Appreciate it to the utmost. And again, Chief, it's like I said, it's always an honor. I'm honored because I can pick up the phone and call you. So, but I got, and my I have something that I'm going to send you, but a sister friend of mine who is an author, she sent me the PDF of her brand new book, and she said, Sister Laverne Thomas L. has a brand new book out, and she said, could you make sure that Chief gets a copy of this? And I'm going to
she haven't started printing hardcovers yet.
No, but it's called Big Mama Stargate, and she wants you to it's called Big Mama Stargate, and I'm going to send it to you, and
yeah, I want to check that out.
Yeah, because she said yeah well, it's the book Our Relationships Need. Actually, it says 101 questions you should ask yourself before becoming emotionally, sexually, or financially involved with another person. Workbook. It's called Big Mama Stargate, from Big Mama's perspective. So we'll send it to you, get it over to you.
I like to check that out.
Okay. Listen, y'all, thank you so much for being on here with us. And I'm doing better. I'm doing better when people, try to be disruptive and crazy in the chat. Yes, I do need a moderator or two. So I don't even know how that works. You know what I mean? But I would be great if somebody else was in there, like knocking them off the platform instead of being me all the time. But you know what? I don't mind if I have to. I like block parties anyway. But thank you so much for your attention, for your time, for your love, for your feedback, your positive feedback, and even the negative, because it made the rest of y'all have to stand up and say, look, we're not standing for that. So listen, Oak L, if you did not, you must have just logged in if you were asking me right now about an update on Taj. I just gave it. Go back and replay this and get to the end, and then you'll hear me what I just said. I'm not saying it again. Love you. Not saying it again. You must have just logged on. Honestly, did y'all just hear me talk about Grand Sheik? Yep. Like not 5 more minutes ago. All right. Love you. I'm getting ready to play the long version out. How about that? Make sure you support our brother, the Chief. Here's his Cash App. Make sure it says Rodney Hayes, because it's some other folks like they did us on us. Other people made fake stuff that was close to House of Real Awakening, even used a picture, and then I ended up losing the Cash App, my Cash App, House of Real Awakening, my Cash App, because people were creating other stuff and defrauding. House of Real Awakening Minds does not have Cash App, so please do not send anything that you think might be us, because it's not, because we don't have it. So we have what you see here, Zelle and PayPal, but we don't have this other stuff. Thank you so much. And again,
how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. What's on your mind?
I can't see you. Am I supposed to be?
Yeah, I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. First I wanted to compliment you, I guess. I appreciate your range of the topics that you have a lot of knowledge on. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I have a question about if you produce something that people use for like a spiritual tool, how can you go about blocking them from draining your energy because you produced it and they're using it as a tool?
Okay, so this is what the shamans used to do.
Okay.
When, let's say, for instance, I'm an artist and somebody commissioned me to do a tarot deck.
Yeah.
want my energy to be permanently tied to the tarot deck. So I create, we used to call them satchels. And I would put the tarot deck in there, put it in salt before I give it to the person to remove with the intent. Because it got to be conscious, willful intent. And being a shaman, you would know how to focus your intent on cleansing your energy from the deck before the transfer. When the transfer comes, any good tarot reader is supposed to charge their deck. That's where you took your energy off. They had to put their energy on in order to be able for their subconscious to control the flow of the cards. That's just an example. The same thing work when you make a talisman or anything like that. But some stuff you want your energy to stay on. Like, let's say, for instance, they commissioned me to paint a mural. My energy is what it expands my reach and resource, and it also contributes my energy to the society or all of the viewers of the mural. But private artifacts, like let's say I commission a guy who molds steel to make me a knife for my kitchen. He can, when he get done forging a knife and putting it in that, he can leave it sitting on salt overnight. They used to sit it on salt mixed with something called saltpeter. It's like a sawdust. And they would put the knives on them to take their personal energy out, but then they have to do one more forge. And a lot of times the person who was having the artifact made left something of theirs to be infused into the artifact in order for it to have their energy prominently in it. A good example is when Shaka Zulu was having his spear made. He had to describe to the shaman his energy that he wanted infused into the spear. Then he had to link the energy once it was done, right?
As a weapon.
Yeah. So the shaman have to disassociate his energy in order for Shaka to successfully attach his. They use the water element for it over there. Well, most people that work with steel uses the water element as a purification of the steel. That's why they always dipping it in water and dip it in the water, cool it down, heat it up.
I have kind of a funny story about the tarot thing that you were talking about, energy transfer.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to a tarot group. This has been years ago, and I always knew that my energy was a lot stronger than the people that I was sitting next to, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked to borrow my deck, and I was kind of particular about that. Some people I wouldn't let them, but he was okay, and I let him. Well, he would always take a pendulum and put it over his deck to center it to himself, and he couldn't. He couldn't do it over my energy on my deck.
Yeah.
It really upset him. He was like, I was like, well, it's my deck. That's me right sitting there on that energy.
He didn't tell you what that mean though?
What he was doing?
No. When he couldn't make it center on your deck, he didn't ever tell you what that meant.
For me, it meant he couldn't control that deck because my energy was all over it and he couldn't override it.
That's part of it.
Correct?
That's part of it. But it was also, he supposed to told you that you're not supposed to lend your deck to nobody.
Well, technically, it was my deck that I had just purchased, but as soon as it reaches my hand, it's mine, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it don't matter.
And the deck I didn't care for.
When you accepted it as yours, you had to for it not to cooperate with him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I had just purchased the deck right before I went to this shop, this group meeting or whatever. And as I was flipping through it, I was like, I didn't really like some of the major cards, right? That I kind of have to, like before I, want to use the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd only had it for like half an hour or something. And I was like, well, you can have the deck. because I didn't want it. I only spent like $15 on it or something. And when I tried to transfer it to him, he couldn't override it. And so I was like, well, you know. So I cleared it off for him, but it was just an interesting thing because it surprised him.
But in your tradition, like for instance, your personal decks that you use, you're not supposed to let people handle them unless you're doing a reading for them.
There was a couple that I would do that with, but most of them I won't. Some of the people's energy, I wouldn't let them touch them. I didn't care if I was doing a reading for them or not.
Now,
And then, of course, I didn't
that's
do
a spiritual self giving you instructions on people you ain't supposed to interact with. If you can't,
Yeah.
if you feel that energy, say don't let them mix energy. That means that get the motherfuckers away from you.
Yeah. Well, this was a public thing that I couldn't control who was there, but I just stopped interacting. I haven't been there for years.
That's
My
why it's not for
concern,
everybody. Only certain. You might not be one who you do public. You need your own space where you have people come in that you interact with personally
right?
as a priestess, so that when they come in, you smudge them in the mud porch. You're doing smudging ritual before they enter into your chamber where you read at, and it also it makes your message so much clearer. It's almost like you reading words from a book while you describing it to them.
I don't do readings for other people anymore.
Yeah,
Just my dog. Yeah, I don't.
I
They were
don't do
too
I don't do
accurate.
readings for people either.
They were
Not with the
too
deck.
accurate.
Yeah.
In fact, I had the oddest story I had doing tarot. I had a stranger wanted me to prove that tarot was real, and I was fairly new at it, so I didn't realize how that might have some circumstances around it.
Mm-hmm.
The reading was too accurate. I found out about his ex that he had witnessed dying and all kinds of stuff. Scared the shit out of him. Scared me too because I was like, "Hey man, I don't know why I'm hearing all this." But I was fairly. This was a long time ago. My only concern about what you're talking about as far as the energy transferring and clearing it, that's more of a, I'm giving you an item that I have handled, that I have, that I'm transferring to you. What I'm going to be producing, I'm actually painting the tarot deck, but which means it will have my energy because I've created it, right? It has my vision and how I'm seeing the cards and stuff. But it's going to be mass produced to a certain extent where it's going to be printed somewhere and printed or shipped to them, and I won't ever, I won't see any of that process. So,
Right. Okay, so before you send it to be mass produced, then you have to spread all your cards out and face them up and under the full moon and order your energy to remove itself from the cards. You are the author of that. So, and then you explain while you looking at the deck, you looking over them. You got to explain to your energy what you don't want them to do, or
okay.
they're going to do it automatically.
Now, see, I'd already thought about that. The deck itself is melanated people, and I was concerned about that being something that would be a target for some people. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I mean,
Most of the
that's the
people,
extreme.
most of the people that deal with tarot decks is really good people.
Yeah,
Most of them,
yeah,
yeah, most of them not in it for the BS. I
yeah.
wouldn't
Most of,
worry. I wouldn't
yeah, I
worry
would
too
say,
much about that part. I would, before I send it out to be mass produced, I would give my energy instructions to separate from the results of the card readings
okay.
and any of the magic done with the cards.
Yes,
But you want to do it under now. Why I tell you to put it under the moonlight? Do you know?
uh, I haven't done too much moon magic. Some of it backfired on me, so I don't really mess with it.
You know
So
tarot
yeah.
is moon magic, right?
Hmm.
Tarot is moon magic. It's
Um.
100% moon magic. It's derived from
I'm not
moon
gonna
magic.
agree. I'm just saying that I never really.
Listen what I'm
Okay.
explaining to you.
Okay.
Tarot cards are moon magic. This the feminine silver cord energy that's called the silver key, the lunar key, the key to the magic of the moon, which governs the night life, and the night light becomes the moon. The moon is the light that illuminates the darkness in the mind of the oracle. This is why they all pay homage to the moon with the crescent on their head. And the crescent takes many positions based off the user's energy field. The tarot was written by Tahuti in its origin, or Thoth. And the purpose of the tarot was to train the psychic to see in the darkness of their mind, using the training of the tarot in order to illuminate the darkness to tell you what it sees in the images. The reflection of the solar light, which comes from the sun magic, which is astrology, astronomy. What's your astrological sign? Now you're using the sun to reflect the moon magic. But all of the magic in the tarot card is infused from moon magic ritual rites of the oracles of the earth. It was designed to train oracles to be able to not need the cards no more. That's why it was originally created. In order for you to have a language that you can translate the unknown into the known before the actual event or in the real time of the event. Sometimes you do a tarot spread, it's more impressive that the person know what's going on in their life right now than it is in 5 years. But in another tarot spread, it's more pressing that they know what they need to do now to be prepared for this event that's to come in about 5 years. So when they read the card, the tarot reader reading comes out, and you'll know the time frame from what it is referring to. What's their tower moment, right? Do their tower moment seem such a far away because he's only beginning his journey as the fool? Or do it look like it's materialized and mature as he sits up on his throne as the emperor? Right? So you're reading the energy. Each energy comes with symbols and signs. The symbolism that you use to infuse a new deck that you create is your subconscious instructions on how to train your future trainees in the art of reading their subconscious mind, and you use the art in your cards as the tool for the training. But what you don't want is the bad kids that's breaking into the school that's trying to be funny using the dark arts to use your energy, your creation, because you concerned about the karmic backlash. When you put it under the moon and you instructed not to participate in the shenanigans, then when people try to use it to do what's wrong with it, it's going to force them to do something right. Because you took your energy off of it, and it has to have balance. They
And
have
it's
to
gonna
charge.
boomerang.
Yeah. So that's
Well,
why I was asking you if you knew what kind of magic tarot was, because it's absolutely moon magic.
I had no idea that. I mean, I always thought that they were, a lot of the tarot decks do a lot of Hecate, homage and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they use the moon, of course, but when I picked up tarot, I was trying to figure out why I was able to read energy so well. And when I would tell people certain things, they didn't believe me, but if I lay down a card, then they believe me. Does that make sense?
It's used
A
for
lot of times I
too.
didn't need those cards.
Yeah,
Huh?
that was the second level of tarot reading. That you really don't need them, but
Hmm.
you use them for the person who don't understand what you're doing to have something as a frame of reference.
Right.
So now they say that you interpreting the cards, or you're not interpreting the cards, you interpreting the energy. You
You taught me
use,
so much
yeah.
here.
So now you use it as a tool. That's the magician's wand. It's just your second phase. But once you get to where you can communicate so clearly with a person that the communication prints the card in their mind, that's when you don't need the cards no more.
But see, what you told me today, just with that kind of, you know how like you'll hear something and it puts things that you were kind of had question marks and it kind of lines all up.
Yeah.
That explains a lot of the activity on the airwaves in the last couple years. I stopped reading tarot and it was coming in whether I was going to read the tarot or not, I think.
Yeah. So so you're reading the tarot, you're going through the 3 stages. The first stage is learning how to interpret the energy, right? That's the first level of it, because you're looking at the card, you don't know what it means, you don't know what it feels like, but you got to figure out, how do I tune into this card in order for me to know when I see this energy what it is,
Right.
because it's gonna play out in real life, but now you got to translate. You have to flip your tarot lens into the world. You're not gonna learn that before you learn how to interpret the energy of the card. Now,
Right.
now that you know how to interpret the energy, you go into what's called phase 2, which is the practice phase. The practice phase is you need to build a language stock of communication techniques where you don't need the card for the other person to understand when you're reading the energy that you accurate. They need the magician to have the wand, but the magician can wield the magic with or without the wand.
Right. Right.
Now, if you catch the magician away from his magical supplies and he have no wand, he can still do the magic. Now, in the class 2 of tarot reading, and using it as the wand, as the tool, right, is to train you as a maestro to and conduct the orchestra of the energy. Now you're going to make the song every time you translate for a different person. That's a